Well, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to start the presentation off and then I'm going to let Jason take over. By the way, once again, I'm Brittany Chipley. I am the Executive Director for AZ Able, also known as Arizona Able Accounts. And first, let's talk about what exactly is able. Hopefully, some of you guys out there know about it, or if not, hopefully you've heard about able accounts because these accounts are definitely life changing. So I'm just thrilled to share a little bit more about able accounts with you. So able is a acronym for Achieving a Better Life Experience. It was originally signed back in 2014 under the Obama administration. And then here in Arizona, then Governor Ducey in the summer of 2016 signed it into law here in Arizona. Exactly what are able accounts? The main thing is it allows individuals with disabilities, even their family or friends, maybe even an employer, anyone allows people to contribute money to these accounts on behalf of people with disabilities to save money. And the money in these accounts do not count as a resource. So when you go to sign up for benefits, they cannot basically say you have too much money, too much savings, basically. It helps people overcome that and is not held against them. Um, these are just some typical means tested benefits that they protect. SSI, Medicaid, but it can also include maybe HUD benefits if you're getting ready to go off to college, and you're filling out your FAFSA form, that is considered a means tested benefits, and so the money in your ABLE account is not going to count against you for your eligibility for these benefits, SSI, Medicaid, HUD, and so forth. We typically say that it has a hybrid functionality. In a sense, what that means is that it can be used various ways. So not only are there savings accounts, but they're also, if you want to buy some stocks, you can do that. But the hybrid functionality comes from if you guys are familiar with 529 education savings accounts, you can actually take money out of your 529 and move it into your able account. It works very similar. You can use it as a regular checking or savings account. You can use it that way. And then I know quite a few people who not only have able accounts, but they also have special needs trust. So you can use your able account various ways, and you can also use your special needs trust. There's some restrictions there. At the end of the presentation, towards the end of the presentation, Jason is going to just go over just how they're different and then also how they work together. So I already talked about basically how it started, but let's talk about what exactly is AZ Able and a little bit more information. So AZ Able is, of course, Arizona's Able plan. Right now, there are 46 states, including DC, who all have Able plans. Some Able plans are state-only plans, which means you have to live in that state in order to open an account in that state. And then there's about, I want to say somewhere around 30 states out there who are considered national plans, which means you don't have to live in that state in order to participate in their ABLE plan. But here in Arizona, you do have to be an Arizonan. You have to live here. So that's why it says it's only offered to Arizona residents through a partnership with Ohio Stable Account Program. The Ohio Stable Account Program is basically the name of Ohio's ABLE plan. We're partnered with them. They're not only partnered with us, but they're partnered with 10 other states. Um, but even that, it is administered, it is housed, the program is under the Department of Economic Security, DES. We launched the program March 5th, 2018. We're doing very well when comparing AZ Able and other state-only plans that launched their program back in 2018, we're ranked number one in regards to the amount of accounts we have open, and then also our average account balance and the assets under management, which means how much money is within the entire plan. And once again, Jason would just go over some of those numbers with you guys once he takes over here in a few. So let's talk about benefits. What are benefits? Why should you open up an Able account? Well, the first main thing is that these accounts, so people with disabilities, these are their accounts. It's going to be in your name. It's going to be in their name. Even though I know some people, quite a few people who manage the account on behalf of a loved one. Even though someone may be an account administrator, we call it, so they're managing the account, especially when we're talking about like a parent managing their child's account, they are overseeing the account, but the account is in their child's name. So the account is owned by the individual living with a disability. Um, where let's talk about financial independence. So it's definitely eliminating that spin down. I heard this even from my mom. My mom is visually impaired. Like, there's been times, and I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with it, just like my mother, where before Able came about, I always heard people saying, "Oh my God, I was hiding money or I was just spending money because I was scared that I was going to go over that resource limit and possibly lose my Medicaid and possibly lose my SSI." So people don't have to worry about that anymore when they have an Able account. So it eliminates the spend down and it increases the amount of short-term and long-term savings. Um, Jason will give a testimony of like how Able accounts have saved his life and all the things he's been able um, to buy because now not worried about losing benefits. Another great benefit, one of the most recent benefits within the last few years, um, since we launched the program, is a tax benefit. So people who contribute on behalf of someone, they can actually those contributions are tax deductible. So you can put it on your taxes and get a tax deduction for all contributors who live here in Arizona, are residents and are taxpayers. So it's up to $4,000 for those who are married and filed jointly, and it's up to $2,000 for those single filers. And it is per account per beneficiary. So, for instance, if my son or daughter have a Able account, I open an Able account for them, and my husband and I put $4,000 in for my daughter, and then we do another 4,000 for my son. So at the end of come tax season, we can basically write off $8,000 as a tax deduction because it is per beneficiary per account. So let's talk about eligibility. So how does someone know if they're eligible to open up an Able account? The first main qualification is that you have to have a disability that began or occurred prior to turning the age of 26. Um, you can be diagnosed later on in life. So let me give you guys a quick example. Let's say we have a young man, he's 30. He feels like he's suffering from some type of mental illness or something. And so he goes to the doctor, and at the age of 30, the doctor says, "Well, I'm going to diagnose you with a mental illness. However, your mental illness began when you were 25." He would meet that first main criteria because even though he's seeing the doctor at 30, the doctor says his mental illness began when he was at the age of 25, which is before the age of 26. In addition to having that onset of disability prior to the age of 26, Someone also must have one of the following. Number one, be eligible to receive SSI or SSDI due to a disability, or have a condition listed on Social Security Administration's list of compassionate allowances conditions. Typically, I tell people just to Google that. Just Google SSA's list of compassionate allowances conditions or self-certification. Before I go to the next slide to talk about self-certification, I just want to let you guys know that on January 1st, 2026, that age of onset of 26 is going to go up to 46. So just keep that in mind. We've been promoting that and telling people that because there's a lot of people, for instance, such as my mother, who, you know, their onset of disability was later in life, such as our veterans. Our veterans will be able to take advantage since it's going up to 46, and so many other people who has had some tragic accident and now they have a disability. So just think about that. So for January 1st, 2026, 26 is going to go up to 46. So let's talk about certification. So just to repeat, first you have to have a disability that began prior to turning the age of 26, and then one of the following: receiving SSI or eligible. You don't have to necessarily be receiving it at the time, but just be eligible to receive SSI or SSDI, or have a condition list on Social Security Administration's list of compassionate allowances conditions, or self-certification. So what exactly is self-certification? First, you have to be diagnosed from a licensed physician that you have a disability, or that someone has a disability that causes marked and severe functional limitations. What exactly does that mean? Those conditions are all listed in SSA's Blue Book. So once again, I tell people just to Google that, SSA's Blue Book, because it's hundreds, if not thousands, of conditions listed. And then these ABLE accounts are not for people who have short-term disabilities. When you go to sign up, someone goes to sign up, they have to certify that their condition has lasted or is expected to last at least a year, or they have a permanent condition. And then we also tell people that you don't have to send in your diagnosis, upload your diagnosis or anything like that. But of course, just always have it on hand just in case any questions arise later. Enrollment. So how do you enroll into AZ Able? First, let me make it clear, all enrollment is online. We do accept initial paper applications, but once someone sends in a paper application, they're gonna have to basically manage their account online. Um, please don't go to a bank. I tell people all the time, don't go to a bank. I have had people go to Chase or Bank of America, try to open up an ABLE account. You cannot do that. And ABLE all ABLE accounts are online. Not just us, but all across the country are all online accounts. For us, it takes approximately 20 minutes. We really stand by 20 minutes. We actually had a young lady when we first opened our program. We had a young lady with one finger who actually opened her account in 19 minutes. So we really stand by that. It is extremely accessible. It's no legal jargon that we say, legal words on there, or that always freaks me out. I'm sure it probably freaks you guys out too, when you're like, I'm not sure, I don't understand this. You don't have to worry about that. Very self-explanatory. We actually have, if you go on our Ohio Stables, if you get a chance and go onto their website, they actually have like an enrollment video. And at the end of this presentation, my contact information could come up. And so if you guys can't find it, I would just contact me and I would send you the enrollment video. And it's very, very, very easy to sign up. We do ask that when you do enroll, when people enroll, to deposit, put at least $25 into the account. And I think the system allows people, I want to say 90 days to get that deposit, get that $25 into their account to make their account active. So enrollment can be done by the beneficiary, who is the account holder. Their name is on the account, the person living with a disability, or any authorized legal representative, and that can be someone with power of attorney, a conservator, a legal guardian, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, or a Social Security rep payee. I want to make it clear that um, a beneficiary, if they're able to, they can actually choose whomever they want. If they don't want to manage their own account, they have the right to choose whomever they want to manage their account. Um, but other than that, it can be the beneficiary or any authorized legal representative that I just mentioned. And it's in this particular order that I just read because that's just the way that the IRS set it up. So basically, Social Security rep payee is at the end of the priority list. So in order for a Social Security rep payee to manage an account, basically all those other people that I mentioned prior have to be unwilling or unable to manage the account. So let's talk about funding. So how to fund the account. Can you put money into your able account? Um, People can certainly send in a check. If someone has other accounts, Bank of America, Chase, whatever, they can take money out of that account and move it over into the able account. That is an electronic funds transfer. One of our newly options is having someone directly deposit their social security check directly into their able account. People have the option to do that. And then another option that people take advantage of is payroll deduction. So having money come directly out of your check if you're working or if someone's working. Go back to my example. So if I take money out of my account automatically and maybe deposit into my daughter's account, directly deposit, you can do that. So those are the four main options. So how does someone fund the account? Or how much can you put into the account? So I'm sure you guys are aware of the ridiculous $2,000 resource cap. So that's the main reason why ABLE accounts came about, to help people overcome that ridiculous 2,000 savings resource cap when someone goes and sign up for benefits. So let's talk about numbers. So if you're not working, you can deposit, or someone can deposit, or whomever can deposit up to $19,000 a year and that's calendar year, into the account. However, if someone is actually working, they can deposit even more of their own wages into the account, which brings their yearly contribution limit to $34,060. The only main thing that people have to keep in mind, if someone is working and they're depositing their wages directly into the account, they cannot be participating. They cannot, and their employer cannot be participating into some type of retirement, so 401k or whatever. You can't have that in order to make that additional amount of money, additional amount of wages to go directly into your ABLE account. So if you're not working, yearly contribution limit is $19,000 a year. If you are working and are participating in any type of retirement, your yearly contribution limit can be up to $34,060. The lifetime limit is $555,000. That's the lifetime contribution limit. It's going to take people a while to get there, so I don't really, worry about that. And then also that number goes up at least $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and it's going to keep going up. So I don't really get into that. It's going to take people a while to get there. Another great thing is that when you go to sign up, someone is signing up and they're whether they're working or not working, they'll put all the information into the system, and the system is gonna automatically calculate all the contributions. So the system also, which means the system rejects excess contribution. So if someone deposits too much money, it's going to reject it and send someone a refund check. So just give you guys an example. Say like a grandmother, she wants to be the first able contributor to her grandson's able account. So grandma sends $20,000 into AZ Able. Um, the system would take $19,000 because the grandson, that's the contribution limit. Um, but it's going to issue grandma a refund check of $1,000. So we do have a nice little gifting page. This just kind of shows how the gifting page look, a little blurb of how the gifting page look. It says contribute to Amy's future, looking for the perfect gift. A gift contribution to an able account can help pay for everyday expenses and care down the road. Plus, it's easier than wrapping a present. Thank you for contributing to Amy's future. And it has like a little button there where someone can just hit make a contribution. And the contribution, it goes directly into the account, and it's not going to be counted as a resource, and it's also not going to count as income because it's going directly into the account. So let's talk about investment options before Jason takes over on the next slide. So as I mentioned, these accounts are not just savings accounts. So if you guys feel a little risky and you maybe want to, or someone wants to invest in a market, which we all know there are risks to that, and it can be up and down. You can gain interest, gain a lot of money, but then you can possibly lose money too. So just keep that in mind. So we have 4 Vanguard mutual funds that range from aggressive to conservative. But if you don't feel um, like you don't want to invest in a market, of course you don't have to do that. So we have just the savings option, and it's one principal protected FDIC insured option, up to $250,000 is protected. And even with that, you can possibly, it yields interest. So you can possibly still gain money and not lose money if you don't want to invest in a market. There is a percentage yield there where you can gain money. For sure, for a while it was 5%, but I think lately it went down a little bit. So it's, I want to say somewhere around 4.5% interest. Okay, I'm going to manage the slides for Jason, and I'm going to let him take over from here. And we'll get questions. We're going to leave time for questions for you guys, so don't worry about that, okay? All right, Jason, I'm going to let you take over.
All right, my name is Jason Sneed, as Brittany was saying, and I am a self-advocate. I work for the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, similar to what Emmanuel does that was in the panel presentation. And I do have an able account. I use it. I'll try to go a little slower for the interpreter. So I like to go fast. Um, um, so one thing it says you can use it for is housing and rent and basic expenses. Transportation is a big one as well. And education, all kinds of different stuff. I use it for. I have 2 kids, so I use it for childcare expenses. And also some transportation. I just bought a new van because my other van broke, and it has it's modified with the ramp and all the nice, the stuff that I need. And that so I used some of the funds for that. So that I can I used it on my son wanted extra connections in the back so he could plug his iPad in. So I, you know, use some of that stuff for that too, because it helps me, because it makes him be quiet when we're driving, and we can pay attention to the road better. So, and that's just a couple of things there. And as she said, you could, as a Brittany said, you can. It's a savings and checking account. Uh, and then you got the check withdrawals. So that's you can pay people. You can type in, like, if you did home improvements, stuff like that. You can just pay them from that account. And send it over to that way if you need to. Um, and then you got the stable Visa card. There is a charge for that to use. Um, Sorry, yeah, I should say slides or whatever. But and it's $5, and I'm pretty cheap, so I don't use that because I want to keep my money in my pocket, even if it's $5. And it is loadable, and so there are protections on there. You could set boundaries so that you don't overspend. Uh, so and no overdraft and no cash access limit. Stuff like that. And the system does track your expenses, so you don't have to actually track them. So if the IRS ever comes calling and says, "What have you spent this on?" you can definitely just pull that up and let them know. Um, and it also has alerts. Like, it will alert you if your balance is within the low or whatever, so you can adjust that as well. So you can go to the next one there. And then this is just some SSI considerations. These are questions we get all the time, and these are just caveats to SSI. So you have to be getting SSI to to receive these caveats. So once the balance goes over $100,000, it counts as a resource. But the system itself will just suspend it and not terminate it until your balance goes uh, under 99,999, and you're good. So, and if you have to pay your rent, it's important to pay your rent within that calendar month. Um, as far instead of the next month, or make sure you pay it within that month. Because sometimes you can adjust it where you pay your you can, you just have to make sure. Otherwise, it will penalize that and cut it as a resource. Um, because I know sometimes people pay their rent earlier or something like that, and that could be a problem for these accounts. Also, your account holders, if you are working, your income will still count as a resource, uh, even if you're putting it in an able account. So that's a concern there as well. Um, so I know for me, I use well, I don't get SSI, but if I did, I have to make sure that I would, if I would have to count my income as a resource. So I have to make sure that I did that when I did the calculations for that stuff things. Um, anyway, next slide. Uh, Accounts will be passed to account holders' estates. Um, it's important to it's important to notify the state administrator, or notifies AZ stable or AZ able account holders customer service, so they can take over the access. If the account holder does not have a will, then the account will go through normal probate process. That's why you want to have a will, and you want to make sure that you specify in said will where those funds go, so that Otherwise, it goes down intestinate with the probate process. Um, I forgot to mention, I did go to law school as well, so some of these I, uh, these legal terms uh, I know a little bit about. So, but it's always important to have a will. You can make those yourself or contact the attorney to help you with those things. Uh, all right, next slide. Uh, so like I said, in case you don't have a will or you need a because there is a Medicaid payback here. Unfortunately, people think they need to spend it down because they don't want to pay the Medicaid payback, which makes sense. Uh, but there are limitations in the able count that what they can take back, and so one thing I tell people is to if you're gonna have a funeral, use your able count money to to pay for said funeral and have a big party or however you want to celebrate your your death, I guess. I I told my wife to go to a restaurant somewhere and just have some food and tell some good stories and stuff like that. So and just spend all the money that you can it's in there. So uh, well, actually, I have a will that also dictate some of that stuff too. But anyway, and it pays. It has to pay outstanding bills first, and so also the Medicaid payback can only be addressed to the expenses you made when you opened the account. So if you did something 10 years ago and you didn't have an animal account back then, they can't take those expenses from like a surgery or something like that. Um, you know, um, those they can't import they can't get those expenses from that able account. So and I think that's about it. So here we go. So the monthly fees are about two point $2.25 per month, which is very small. It's a very small fee. Uh, it's charged quarterly, so it's 6.75 charged to your account quarterly. The asset base fees are about 0.19 and 0.33%, and so in other states are 0.5, 0.45, and 0.59. And like I said, the card is $5 a month, so I don't do that because I want to keep my money. So that's just me. Um, uh, but let's see. Then you go to the next slide, please. All right, now we're gonna get to talk about the way AZ able accounts and special needs trust work together and how they're unique. So complementary tools that can work together. So here we go. Trust can make distributions to AZ able accounts. So you can put contributions from your trust into the AZ able accounts. So uh, trust can accept unlimited cash and non-cash assets. That's something that's something that the trust can do. Uh, see, an AZ able has a little bit more broader spending powers, like because the trust is dictated by what the terms of the trust are, right? So sometimes you can't spend it on food or housing or those kind of things. It has to be determined on what the executor says or what the beneficiaries of the trust agree that the trust can do. Um, there's no federal or state income tax in able accounts on earnings. So that's good. Um, can be established through an administrator and owned by an individual with a disability. That it, that is true as well. Sometimes trust are have to be set up in different ways depending on how you set up the trust. Um, but it's important that these two elements can work together. When I talk to people about it, I say, "Well, how much money you have to work with your assets?" And sometimes people say, "Well, I have more than $19,000 to 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 put in the account at first." And I said, "Well, okay, well, you might want to talk to an attorney to set up a special needs trust as well, so that you can properly use uh, the special needs trust and the able account together, and not to lose any money in terms of tax benefits and cost and all those kind of things." Those are useful tools that can be, you know, and all these programs that we use like SSI, SSDI, and there's several different programs. The important thing is to know how they work together, like Ticket to Work program and stuff like that. Uh, and it's important to get help in determining how to use those things because each person's situation is a little different. And so I would say the able account allows me to take it out anytime I want. Like if I want to, I want a big screen TV. I can take it out right away. I don't have to talk to anybody about that. So that is nice. Um, um, and do different things like that. So, um, all right, we can go to the next slide. And this is this is some good numbers here. Um, it says the average account balance is 12,500. That is not the account balance in my account. My kids take all of my money, so it's not that much. And every time I see that slide, I get envious. I'm like, man, this is a lot of money here. But people can save a lot of money, but it's a good thing. And somebody there's 8 people with over $100,000 in there. And 30 people with 75 to 89,000, and then 52 people with 50 to 74,000, and then there's 223 people with 25,000 to 48,000 or 49,999, and then you got some people there um are 10,000 to 24,000. Uh, is a 888 people, and the market value of the account altogether is $32 million. And I remember that Elton said that he needed a visual description of if there's any images, and this is the image of the slide that say it has a nice ranges and it's set up pretty nice there. So it says what the Arizona numbers are as of March 2025. So um yeah, all right, and this is for general inquiries. You can go to the team at stableaccounts.com. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that's you gotta remember that's 3 hours right now. There's 3 hour difference there. Or you can just contact AZAble at azds.gov. You can also contact me, and I can give you some, you know, my, I'll give you my address as well. It's JSNEAD at azds.gov. I'll try to put that in the chat so I don't, before we leave. And with that, I guess we'll take any. Oh yeah, and then there's our social media accounts. Yeah, we got Facebook and 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 Twitter. Not Twitter. I guess it's X now. I always forget that. And then we got this awesome QR code survey we got here. Um, also, and one thing I was thinking about because I know that we were talking about in the panel different things we could do to advocate and starting a podcast. I think it would be cool, like George said, just start the podcast. You can use able funds to do that, and we can advocate that way. Or if you like making posters, you can do that as well. So sorry if I ran through that a little fast, but I'm here for questions as well. And yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I guess we can open up for questions. We have a little bit of time. I'm gonna leave this on here for a little bit to give people a chance to do the QR code and take the survey if they would like to do that. And we'll hand it over to you guys. And I don't know if you guys want people come on, or if you don't feel like you want to come on, definitely put your questions in the chat also. Do you have any questions? You guys don't have to be shy. And if
One
you
thing I forgot to mention was you can't use the money for gambling
Right,
or adult entertainment.
right.
So yeah, like I got that. I won a fantasy. Behind me is a barn door, and I won a fantasy football tournament. So I use that money for that. But I'm not. Yeah, I guess that's considered gambling, even though it's not really. Anyway, I don't know, but yeah. So I have to use that money for. I can't use the able account for that account. So
Hello, can you guys hear me?
yeah.
Yes.
I have a question. If someone that is unable to get onto the website to try to apply for an account or open an account, would there be somebody to help them if they call the phone number that's provided?
Yes. Hi, Elton. Thank you for your question. Yes, so like I mentioned, someone can do a paper enrollment, or if they need help as they're getting on the website, or if they can't get, whatever the case may be, definitely call customer service, 1-800-439-1653. And like Jason mentioned, just understand that they're on Eastern time. And then when we spring forward, it'll change, or fall backwards, sorry, it'll change to, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely just contact customer service.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, this is George.
Hi, George.
I do have a question regarding the investment portion.
Hmm.
How does that work? Like, do you get to pick your stocks, or
Yes,
is that picked for you, or how does that work?
you get to pick your stocks. I want to say, and Jason, if you want to add anything, please feel free. There's options. I think it gives you 4 options, and I think based on rules and regulations, you can change your options only twice a year. But no, you can. People, it allows people to choose their own options.
Yeah, so I pick my own options. I try to look at least twice a year to adjust it. Or if let's say a president comes into office and does some stupid stuff that affects the market, then I try to adjust it for those reasons as well. Not saying that happened, but it could happen. Just put a joke on. But yeah, you can adjust your own stuff, and it's. But if you're not comfortable with that, or if you would like to not do that, there is a standard option you could pick that'll also give you some sort of returns as well. So there's freedom of choice there to do what you want.
Right. And If you, of course, we're not we can't get investment advice, but if you go on our website, George, and those of you who's a little bit more interested in the stocks, go on our website and go on our plan disclosure statement and participation agreement, and it gives you a lot more information about the stocks and how it works. And then you can also see um like how everything's going to. So yeah, just visit our website, az-able.com, and that is going to be found under the plan disclosure statement and participation agreement to learn more about the stock options.
Yeah. And I did see a question in there about whether Medicaid payback is different in each state. And yes, that is it is different in each state. So it just depends on unfortunately here we still have the Medicaid payback uh provision. So hopefully eventually we can work on that to get that adjusted.
Yes,
Um
that is one of my initiatives this year, and if it doesn't work out next year, I will keep doing it
yeah.
to get that. But yeah, it depends. Just to give you guys an example, I know that California, within the past couple of years, their legislature passed a law banning the Medicaid payback. So yeah, it just depends, and that's for the residents living in that state. California is a national program, so but only for the Medicaid payback is for those people who participate in their program and who also live in the state. So yeah, that varies from state to state. There's quite a few states out there who don't have a Medicaid payback, but unfortunately, there are a lot more who do have it than don't have it. But that is something that we are working on. One of my priorities to have that. Hopefully, eventually, within this year, if not this year, next couple years, we can get that banned here in Arizona. Let's see. Any other questions? I'm just double checking the chat. Let's see how much time we have. We have a little bit over 5 minutes. Just if you guys think of questions later on and you're like, dang it, I should have asked that. Please just this az-able at azdes.gov, that comes directly to me and I can get your questions answered. Adrian, did you have a question?
Yes, I did actually. I actually am under one of your Able accounts. And I remember when I was setting it up, I remember it was kind of a pain because I live on a tribal reservation. And I remember when I was doing it and I got accepted for it. I remember I had like close to about, I want to say like, oh geez, like $10,000 in my account. And I remember getting a notice from the company saying like, oh, you can't, oh, like, or like it was like the company or my bank, because I remember you have to have like you have to have is it like you have to have like a certain amount of money in your Able account, I think, because you can't have like an excess over it, because I actually had to spend like, I want to say like over, I want to say like $8,000 in about like, I want to say like in a couple of days, because I think I had to be like under like I had to be like at a certain, I had to be like below a certain threshold, or else the account was gonna be like oh geez, I can't remember the term of it, but
Was this,
it was something like that.
was this an AZ Able account?
Yes.
Okay, and are you saying did you receive the notice? I Able accounts and AZ Able, you would never get a notice from us saying to spend your money. So I'm wondering,
Mhm.
was this notice from a benefit agency, or and they weren't aware that you had an Able account, or where was this notice from? Because that sounds like you received a notice from a benefit agency that saw that you went over that $2,000 resource.
Yeah.
And so That's why it's very important that when you go up to sign up for benefits, or if you already have benefits and you're getting ready to open up an able account, they know, because by law, they cannot, because it sounds like they were saying you were over the resource limit, so start spending the money or you're gonna lose your benefits. So,
Yeah, basically that's what happened. Yeah,
right.
basically
So,
that's what happened to me.
okay, so for future and moving forward, when you guys go and any family members, your loved ones, are thinking about opening up an able account, or they already have an able, you already have an able account,
Hmm.
please let benefit agencies know, because by law, they cannot make you do that because the funds in the account are protected. They're exempt from costing you your Medicaid or your benefits or whatever. So that's what sounds like what happened, Adrian, unfortunately.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
because I had built that up over the years of like me being, because I'm on tribal land, and I was building that money up over the years as I was growing up.
right. Right. Okay. So yeah, and if you don't have an able account and you're receiving benefits and you go over that 2,000, then you risk losing your benefits or not being eligible for benefits. So that's the whole purpose of able accounts, is to help you save money and
Hmm.
keep your benefits.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
that makes a lot more sense now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, and hopefully I clarified some things for you. Thank you. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
if that happens to anyone, feel free to contact either one of us, and we can help you advocate with that agency that's telling you to they're gonna have to take your money away, because that's not supposed to happen. So,
Right, right.
all right.
Okay, let's see how much time we have. About 4 minutes left. So,
Just
uh,
one more question to
yes,
clarify.
okay.
How much money can you put in total in a year in an able account?
So, if someone's not working, it's up to 19,000 a year, and that can come from anyone, any source. And then if someone is working, it brings them up to that 34,000 and some change. So someone, which is somewhere, I can't remember the numbers right off the top of my head right now for some reason. But so if someone's not working, it's up to $19,000 contribution limit. If someone is working, it's up to an additional 15,000, a little over 15,000. Um, and then, but someone has to keep in mind that if they are working and they're using their wages and putting it into their able account, they cannot be participating in their employer's retirement plan. So
Right.
can go back. Let me go back for
Yeah.
you. So
Right.
you,
Because I can only put in 19,000 because I participate in the state's retirement plan. So I can only put in the 19,000, and um that it allows me to do that. Which is, I mean, I'm about vested in my retirement, so good for me. But I can only put in uh 19,000.
So, just a question that I have is it $34,000 saved, or is it you can't be making more than $34,000 a year in your employment?
it's saved. It doesn't matter how much money you're making.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. That's $34,000 a year in the account that you can save.
Right, right.
Okay. So if you had a job that was making, let's say, $40,000 a year, but you're obviously paying your bills and you're paying for expenses, food, clothing, stuff like that, you're not going to be able to save 34,000 out of your paycheck. I mean, unless you're
Right.
really frugal.
Right. Well, what that extra amount comes from, that how it gets to the 34,000, that max, is that you have 19,000 from other sources. Okay. So say like even if you have a job and you're only making $40,000 a year, okay? How to get to that 34,000 is to save $15,060 of your own money if you can and you're not participating in a retirement plan. In addition, the other 19,000 comes from your mother, your father, a friend, a disability organization, whomever. So that's how someone would get to that $34,000 per year. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does this allow you to keep your benefits? So let's say if you're on Access,
Right. That's the main
Altex.
point.
Right.
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 That's
So
the main point of able accounts to help you save money over that $2,000 cap and keep your benefits.
right. So I'm on Access, right? I'm on the long-term healthcare plan, and I work, and this account allows me to do that. Also, I'm on the Freedom to Work program, which allows you to Medicaid buy-in program here. But because those funds in my able account don't count towards that because it's protected, right? So I can make more money than the traditional amount without it, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think that's the end of our time. We're 1 minute over, so we apologize for that. But great engagement, great questions. Once again, if you guys think of anything later on, please contact Jason or I. Jason, did you put your contact information, your email into the chat?
I did put my email into the chat, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And then if you need to contact me, once again, it's az-able@azds.gov. Thank you guys so much for spending your late morning with us, and I hope you guys are enjoying the conference. And please tell someone about Able accounts, spread the news because once again, these accounts are life-changing. Thank you guys so much. Take care.